I guess I will call the Monroe County Economic Development Commission meeting to order on Thursday, November 4th. It's about 12:04 in the afternoon. We will have a roll call. Jeff, is there a manner in which we should do the roll call?
Well, I will just call your name and you just say present.
Okie doke, that works.
Fred Schultz.
Present.
Ron Smith.
Present.
So we have a quorum in attendance of the Economic Development Commission. I guess if you don't mind, I don't see in the audience at this point the representative from Baxter.
Okay.
And I just texted him to remind him to be here. But we do have two things on the agenda, and in the interest of time, if you guys wish, there's really more than two, but there are two main topics.
Sure. Yeah, we can take them out of order. So
Sure.
So I would suggest we move on to item 3,
okay.
which is a public hearing on the proposed financing for the Logan Land Development LLC Economic Development Facility. And if you don't mind, I'd like to give a little bit of background before we open the public hearing so that the public understands what we're looking at and the project. In your packet, it's going to take me a second because I was preparing for the first item first, and now we're moving to the next one. In your packet, there was something called the 46 CETA project map, which I think is a good thing to start with because it kind of outlines the project that this is looking to finance. If you look at that map, you'll see a darker blue roadway that's called Hunter Valley Road.
Yep.
The name's over it. The construction of that is what this project is about.
Okay.
I would note that you may not be able to see it from that aerial, but it does go over a creek, so there is a bridge involved in it. And essentially, this road project is going to connect the North Curry Pike to Arlington Drive to add greater connectivity to that area and therefore allow more infrastructure for the development of that area. And so that's kind of the project itself. That roadway is expected to cost $4.5 million, provide the construction wages for that, along with supporting the current businesses in that area. And if you look at that aerial, particularly, we're looking at well, it's not on the arrow, but there's an Ernest Health building that's going there. There's another facility there in south of Curry Pike, next to for the development area. That's where the hospital is putting a lot of new facilities. So we think that this connection is vital in order to kind of open that up and have those lanes of connectivity for business purposes, as well as ancillary medical and public health purposes. So I think that is kind of the overview, and I think hopefully that gives the public up to speed enough so that they can comment if they wish, and if any of the public.
I was going to be clear, if I understand right, that's an improvement for the Hunter Valley Road, correct? It's not a new building of a road, or is it?
Well, part of it will be because there is no bridge connecting the two. The current roadway is a gravel road that I have driven on once or twice, and so it is not a roadway that you would necessarily think is a good transition from the Curry Pike on the other side. It's probably not something that the general public would use. Probably not something that truck traffic and things like that would use.
Sure. Oh, thank you for clarifying that.
Jeff, what is or if somebody else in attendance can answer, the development just north of Hunter Valley Road on this overhead. Is that a stone quarry?
I believe it's a stone quarry, yes.
Okay.
And so
Let
if
me,
you
let me
wish,
clarify a bit. There
Sure.
actually, that creek did have a bridge, but it was not safe and it was closed when and that's why there is no bridge there now. There might be remnants of one, but there is not a bridge, and we need to reconstruct or build a new bridge there.
And so the intent, Jeff, is to, as I understand what you're saying, is to make a more direct path for traffic to medical facilities that are coming in, as well as helping to and obviously any other development in that area. It would be far more accessible to the public to make this upgrade.
and I just want to respond to the chat because Mr. Zimmer says he can hear us. I will forward you the call-in number via email, so check your email.
What it does is actually provide us an alternate route.
Okay.
Right now, 46 is the only way into town from there,
Okay.
unless you go all the way back down south, or you go back to the stoplight and then take Arlington Road. This gives us a connection from that intersection of 46 and Vernal Pike, or 46 and Curry Pike,
Okay.
into town along Arlington Road, where there is traffic capacity. It's easier to get to the high school area
Right.
using this.
Yeah.
It will provide some alternate roadway capability. It will provide better access for the city or for the county's property that was purchased along Hunter Valley Road. And it generally helps us make the area more marketable.
Okay. All right. Jeff, is there any other presentation that needs to be made on it, or do we, any further discussion or?
I think I would just add that this project has been this is in a county TIF district. This project has been in the plan since it originated in the early 2000s. And so this is not a new project. This economic development bond will be supported with tax increment finance revenue. However, any excess over what the revenue generated will be the responsibility of the developer. And as of today, the revenue will not cover the full cost of the bond. So there needs to be growth in that area, or the developer is going to experience a risk, or will experience a loss to that bond, and to have to cover those payments. So I think that's important. And so I think it's important that you officially open a public hearing for the public to comment on it. And then after that's done, close that public hearing, and then we can discuss the next two related items.
Okay. So I will, as president of the Monroe County Economic Development Commission, hereby declare we are open for public comment and welcome any member of the public that wishes to share their thoughts or concerns to do so at this time. Are there any members of the public that wish to comment?
I do not see any.
All right. Hearing none. Jeff, as counsel for the Monroe County Economic Development Commission, do I need to do anything in particular to close the opportunity for the public?
I think you just say the public hearing is closed. And then we'll move on to the related items.
All right, well, the opportunity for the public to comment has been offered and brought forth. Hearing no comment from the public, we will close this portion of the meeting and move on.
So then I think the next item is the Economic Development Commission's report.
Oh, okay, sorry, never mind. So, all right, and so this is the report of the Monroe County Economic Development Commission concerning the proposed financing of economic development facilities for Logan Land Development LLC or an affiliate thereof. Jeff, should I read this entire document, or?
I think you can introduce it by title, and that
Okay.
would suffice.
All right,
I would just add to that, I think we discussed the amount of the bond. The project estimates that there would be 40 to 50 temporary construction jobs with a estimated payroll of 1.8 million is an important number.
Yep.
I also think that this will support approximately 110 permanent jobs that have an estimated annual payroll of approximately 6.5 million. I would say that second set of numbers is fairly conservative because it does not necessarily anticipate any new employment. This area, and if you looked at it, when we looked at that map, if you look at the map, a lot of it is undeveloped. It's part of a PUD that was established in, I think, 2007. And there is an interest of, that included both residential and commercial uses. I think there is an interest that maybe it leans more towards residential in the future. So, which I think this road would also help, but there's also a commercial component to it, which we really don't have a good way to estimate those jobs at this point, because it's not like we have a business ready to move in right now, which is kind of why we need the road, is to facilitate that.
right. So I will introduce this as I read the report of the Monroe County Economic Development Commission concerning the proposed financing of economic development facilities for Logan Land Development LLC or an affiliate thereof. The total cost of the bond would be approximately $4.5 million. The commission estimates that there will be approximately 40 or 50 temporary construction jobs with an estimated payroll of $1.8 million, and that it will support an estimated 110 permanent jobs with an estimated payroll of about $6.5 million. Does the commission need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, I figured we might. So
That's what we do.
that is what we do, right? So is there a motion to approve the report?
I would like to make a motion to approve the report as
And
stated.
All right, and I, Fred Schultz, will second it. All in favor of the report, say aye.
We have to do a roll call vote because we are on Zoom.
That is exactly why we have our counsel with us.
I
That's
catch you
right, that's
every
right.
month or every meeting with that.
I just try to skip right ahead, and efficiency is not always the best approach.
All right, so Commissioner Schultz,
I approve. I vote yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
motion is approved, 2-0.
All right, and I am signing the document now, and we'll forward on to council at the conclusion of the meeting.
And then I think it ends up, I need to sign it as well, correct, as secretary?
Yes.
So Jeff, you tell me if you want me to come into the office and sign it, or if you want to have me do it electronically.
Adam, does it make a difference?
Doesn't make a difference to me.
So I am fine with getting it from Commissioner Schultz and then forwarding it to you and having you sign the same document. So it's all on one page.
Great. And then I'll send it right back to you when I'm, after I'm done putting an electronic signature on it.
All right, next item on our agenda.
And then the next item is the resolution approving the proposed financing for the Logan Land Development LLC that we just talked about with the report. So Adam, I was wondering if you could help me because my computer is frozen and I cannot pull that up right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So this this resolution is all on the same project, all on the same financing that we've been discussing so far. This this recommends that the county council adopt a bond ordinance outlining the proposed financing of up to $4.5 million. It also approves forms of a financing agreement and trust indenture with a trustee to be selected by the auditor. And there are form parameters in there of Greg, is it max of last maturity has to be by within 10 years. Do you remember, because the TIF district expires after so many years. Greg, do you remember that particular date?
In our last payment will be 2/1/33, so the district expires in 33.
Okay, fantastic. So that and the bonds are payable solely from the TIF generated from the 46 corridor economic development area allocation area. And is there anything I can help answer?
Adam, I would add for the EDC to know that these bonds are not backed up by the full faith and credit of the county. And therefore, what Jeff explained early on, if there was a loss, it would be a loss to the developer. It is not a loss to the taxpayer. The taxpayer is not at risk.
So if I may ask a question related to that, what happens if the bond doesn't cover the road and of course it is unlikely that would happen, that they would not then complete the building of the road, but what would happen in a legal sense to protect the county?
So the way the bonds will be purchased, they'll be purchased by the developer. So they will be purchased essentially by the developer performing the project. So since they are the buyer and the recipient of any incentive, there's not much actual cash flow back and forth between the buyer and the recipient, since they're the same entity. But what will happen is that as the buyer of the bond on payment dates, they will receive the TIF, generated from the area. But once the bond matures, any remaining unpaid portion will be deemed paid and defeased and of no liability of the county afterwards.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
Any other comment, discussion, questions?
Nope.
All right. Jeff, what action should we take next? Is there a resolution to approve of the proposed financing?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for financing as stated.
And I would second.
So you ready for the roll call?
I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Schultz,
I would vote yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
motion is approved 2-0. And so that would conclude items 3, 4, and 5. And I guess I'm going to mute myself for a second and call Brad Zimmer because he's
Okay.
been trying to get on and make sure, and he's here, but he says he's having audio difficulties. So give me one.
I'm going to drop off as I don't think I'm needed for the other items.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
And I think I will join Adam. So thank you all.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Fred.
Thank you, Greg.
Fred's beds.
Exactly. I've already got the LLC filing done.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, so I'll be calling.
Okay.
Here we are. How you doing, Fred?
I am good. How are you doing, Ron?
Good. Good. It's a beautiful day. It's a little,
It is.
it's a little bit cool, but you know what? It's the fall, so that's okay, right?
You know, it's as long as the sun is out, I don't mind the cool. I really, really don't. It's the gray that drives me nuts. I could live in a colder climate if it was sunny, but
I totally agree with you.
you know, it has everything. It has everything to do with the amount of sunlight. So, and this time of year, I find myself, as soon as I get home, I walk our dog so that I get outside before it gets dark. So just to be outside.
Absolutely. I know yesterday I went over to the Y and walk around the track outside, and it was a little cool when I got there. So I bundled up, put a hat on and a pair of gloves, and I still walked outside, and it was so refreshing and it was so bright and sunny. It felt great. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
It's good for us.
Yep. Mr. Cockrell?
Yes, I talked to him. He has the call-in information and we're hoping it works for him.
Perfect. Okay.
So hopefully we'll see but I do believe he can hear us. He just can't communicate, or maybe he can only see us. But either event, I guess I would introduce the application and the project that they're looking at. This is a real property tax abatement request. And this is for lack of a technical term, some syringe machines.
Right.
The Baxter has had tax abatements in the past, and this one is similar to it. The one issue that we've had in the past with the abatements that hopefully this resolves is that they're on two different parcels because they're in two different townships, although it's one mailing address. So I think the thought is with this application, it would include everything at that mailing address so that we look at the jobs created and those kind of things at a mailing address as opposed to the two different townships. That has been an issue in the past. This also involves a $10 million real property construction that they're not asking for an abatement for, but that's included in the project. I believe the one thing that's different than our typical ones is due to where we're at in the world. I believe they have already ordered some of the equipment. So that's always something that we report. And I think it's going to have at least 25 jobs added at a starting wage of $18 an hour. That $18 does not include a $7.43 medical and dental insurance. In accordance with the provided information, that is a 95% participation rate,
Right.
which I can tell you from my perspective is awfully high.
Right. So we're talking about the There are two property applications for abatements. One for a machine that will fill up to 36,000 syringes an hour, and the other for a machine that will operate or fill up to 24,000 syringes an hour. The address of the taxpayer is 927 South Curry Pike in Bloomington 47402. The projected additional jobs would be 25 with a salary of combined of a little over $1.3 million a year. The abatement will be on the equipment, as I understand it, for the two lines. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on this proposal?
It looked pretty straightforward as far as an abatement goes. I did want to ask a related question. If it's proper, I'm going to ask about does this facility have anything to do with the ethylene oxide controversy that happened in the paper recently?
I don't know the answer to that.
Brad, we cannot hear you. I think you need to hit, I think it's *6 to unmute.
Hello.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Oh, great. And I'm sorry, could you repeat that question, please?
Yes, I just wanted to ask a related question to the abatement. Does this facility that were in the abatement related equipment, does it have to do with the ethylene oxide controversy that's happening in Ellettsville?
That's the first I've heard of that. I honestly have no idea. I can easily find out though. I seriously doubt it. Most of what they do there is, well, they have insulin and like other medical, like pharmaceutical molecules that they develop and package. And I'm sorry, what's the name of that chemical again?
Ethylene oxide. There was a recent article in the paper about the EPA released some information about that it perhaps has a relationship to an increased cancer risk. And so just as a kind of like related, I just wondered if it has to do with when they use it as an antiseptic to clean all, make sure everything is has no germs or anything or bacteria on it. So I just, perhaps it's not.
I honestly do not know. But I can certainly ask the client that question and get back with you.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sure.
Any other questions or comments or discussion?
I have nothing else.
Do we want that information before we call a vote?
Well, what does the group think?
The group thinks that we are two people and that if one of them needs the information before the vote, then by God, we should have the information before the vote.
Well, what is that? What is that? How does that impact us, Mr. Cockrell?
Well, I think if one, I don't know how quickly that answer will come. So I would suggest that we probably would not want to stick around today to wait for that answer. I think in my mind, this is going to the county council next Tuesday for a preliminary approval. If that, and that is a preliminary approving an ERA, and then that has a 2 to 3 week process where you have to do advertising. So it wouldn't go back to the council for their final approval till December. I guess a couple options. If that is critical information, I think you could approve it or send it to the council with a either no recommendation or a recommendation that they approve it pending an answer to that question.
That would be my preference. Because I don't want to hold up the gears of government, but I think it might be a relevant piece of information for the county council to have.
Brad, do you think you could get me that answer prior to Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm sending an email off to Paul Tancredi right now as we speak.
I know that William Ellis from Ellisville Town Council had some concerns just about the release of that into the environment, but I have no idea if it has anything to do with this current action that we're contemplating. So.
Yeah, I've sent the email off, and I'll certainly follow up with a phone call to Paul after the meeting, and I will get you that information as soon as I possibly can.
Well, thank you, Mr. Zimmer. I appreciate it.
Sure,
And of course, it's information that's would be really important for the council to have so that they can make an appropriate decision.
Sure, I understand.
And so I just want to make sure that that you're thinking of approving the tax abatement application subject to information regarding ethylene oxide release and use.
Yes, sir.
All right. The ethylene oxide was the part.
Right. Actually, I was reading the article before our meeting, and I wrote it down and spelled it. So I did get the chemical correct.
As we say, sunlight is the best disinfectant, correct? So.
Yes, sir. Totally agree with you.
Yeah. So.
Now, do we know what context it was used in Ellisville, or who it was that was releasing it?
It's an Indiana Public Media article, and was released by Cook, and it was released in Ellisville. And it was something that they were aware of, and they had mitigated the release into the atmosphere. And since I'm not a scientist or a doctor, it was used to disinfect any of the equipment or any of them in the manufacturing process.
Okay, well, I can tell you this. I did used to represent Cook when I was with the Ferguson Law Firm in Bloomington. And I know that their business deals a lot with the manufacture of medical devices. And
right.
And that's something that Baxter is not involved in. They're basically in the manufacture and packaging of other people's molecules. But then again, that's not to say that they may not use it. So, I will definitely follow up on that. And as soon as I get an answer, I'll be sure. I guess I'll just contact Jeff directly and let him know.
Okay.
If you could just send me an email, that way I
Sure.
can convey the message in the manner you give it to me.
Right, and I'll try to get an answer to you today as soon as possible.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I guess I should make a motion that we approve the tax abatement pending further information as specified.
I would second.
Okay. And I've interpreted that to mean that you are going to recommend to the county council that they approve the tax abatement application subject to information regarding ethylene oxide use and release. Are you guys
Yes, sir.
comfortable with that language?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we ready for a vote?
We are born ready.
Commissioner
I
Schultz.
believe so.
Commissioner Schultz.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 2-0.
Do we need to sign the form?
I will email out a new one that has the updated motion.
Okay,
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
all right. Next on our agenda, are we down to 6 commissioners' comments?
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, I just want to, as always, thank everyone on the call. I want to thank Ron and Jeff for their hard work on the commission, and I hope everybody enjoys this beautiful late fall day.
And I would pretty much say ditto to Mr. Schultz's comments. It's a beautiful fall day. Get out there and take a walk, right?
Exactly. So, all right. Well, having heard all of this, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.